So my name is Jeff Rossick, and my business is Pathway Within, pathwaywithin.com, and I'm a Healing Key Way practitioner. Healing Key as in a door, way as in a path. So 3 words, Healing Key Way. So Healing Key Way is an intention-based system of spiritual healing, transformation, and growth. So when someone comes to this work, they develop an intention that is an actual sentence of what they want to be different in their life. So when you come to a session, at least for the first time, what's something that you want to be different in your life? You know, in the broadest terms, I want more of X or I want less of Y. But it gets as specific and nuanced as a person needs. And it meets every individual where they're at. So Healing Key Way sessions are one-on-one via video or phone call, and they're about 90 minutes each. It's a way for people to dive in and connect with their higher self and bring up the most efficient means of healing the things that are in the way of them experiencing their intention. So let's say after about a few minutes of discussion with me, we get to the bottom of, it started out as like, I'm just stressed out all the time. Well, let's talk about that a little bit more. Is there anything that you think that might be underneath that? And if not, that's fine, that's okay. Because we're gonna go into the session and we'll find out what's underneath that. But let's say it's, I'm stressed all the time. And we're just gonna go with that. And then using muscle testing, we follow the Healing Key Way protocols, which are very much like the steps in a process, a manual. And we muscle test, getting yes or no answers to questions formed in statements. And that guides us through this process. And the muscle testing, I muscle test on behalf of clients, but it is all their higher self. So this is not my opinion. Anything that comes up, I have no idea how any session is gonna go. It just meets every client where they are right when they show up. So the types of things that clients come to this work to address it's pretty vast. Oftentimes a common theme is they're stuck in some way and they don't know why, or they do know why and they've tried so many other things and they're willing to give this a shot. And so Healing Key Way is a really great way of accessing quite quickly and potently hidden barriers that we can't affirmation our way out of. We can't really, attack from, I won't say attack, we can't address from the conscious level. And so Healing Key Way helps go under the surface, go to the, below the iceberg, the surface level to see what's going on underneath. And with precision, we're able to find the things that are not serving you anymore. And we're able to release them and then heal those areas that need to be healed, so that it's almost like you've always been this way, but we've got distorted beliefs, false beliefs, self-sabotaging thought forms, all sorts of different types of energy that are just in our way. They're kind of like, we've been walking through life, we're human, and we accumulate brambles around our legs and we don't even realize it. We're wearing a backpack full of weights that, how did those get in there? Or I've been carrying that around for this long and I had no idea. And sometimes there's weights that are slipped in there that aren't even ours. And so Healing Key Way is a way of letting go of those weights gently and respectfully. Healing Key Way really celebrates your inner path. So when you come to this work, it's all about what is in your highest good, healing, and benefit. And everyone's is different. So if there's 8+ billion people on the planet, that means there's 8+ billion different ways to heal and go about that and find alignment with your truth and yourself. And so that is what Healing Key Way emphasizes, celebrates, is all about, is you and your growth. I found my way into this after about 12 years of trying to shove my life in the overhead bin and make that fit. And it just wasn't working. I had tried all the self-help books, all the TED Talks, all the podcasts, the affirmations, the abundance, and that works so well for so many people, and for me it just wasn't. And then that led to talk therapy, and and that served too. Yet I found myself just kind of going in circles, and I was stuck in cycles. And then through over a holiday, I found myself having a conversation with my sister-in-law, who is a licensed therapist, and we had one of those late night conversations that, just talking about existentialism and philosophy, which I love. And so we were having a great conversation, and then I started opening up about where I was struggling, and she then said, "Hey, have you ever considered something a little different?" And she is a practitioner of Healing QA, and she said, "Honestly, I'm a therapist, and my clients have started doing Healing QA more than traditional therapy because it's so more efficient, it's faster, and it's powerful, and it's lasting." And so I was at a place of, at that moment, I was very curious, but my skeptic was on high alert. But I was also at a place of, what have I got to lose? So I went for my first session. It was remote, and I came out of it, and I come into the kitchen, and my wife instantly says, "You look lighter." And she never said anything about that in regards to anything I'd done as far as working on myself. And I said, "I feel lighter. I don't know what that was, but whoa." And in just such a short amount of time, an hour isn't that long of a time, an hour, 90 minutes, we were able to access things that I wouldn't have even considered were playing a role in where I was and how I was hung up. And so I went on to my next session, and very quickly realized, this is for me. There's something to this. Even though for probably about 3 months, my skeptic was still looking, where's this? This isn't real. There's no way this is real. And that's another thing that I love about this work is the developer of it. His name is Bill Phipps, Dr. William Phipps, and co-developed by Karen Kooning, also a therapist. They're the first to say, poke all the holes in this you can, ask questions. And so as much as I would do that, still these transformations were happening that you can't explain to anybody. And it's not really about trying to explain it to anybody, but within yourself, things are different, things are shifting. And I've come to experience a lot with clients and with myself that growing in this way, raising your vibration, your level of consciousness, is as great as it is that we come to so many wonderful answers. It's also a process of coming to the right questions. And oftentimes it's a very frustrating experience, but we get to be both teacher and student to ourselves. And so this very much, again, celebrates the inner path that only we can walk, but Healing QA is here and available to those that are interested. And it's kind of like you're the one walking your path, and I'm just here to hold up a light if it feels right for you. So for anyone that's new to this, I would say to have an open mind and stay curious. And as best as you can, it's tough, I think, for everyone in different ways to release expectations. This Healing QA isn't about quick fixes, or I'm going to come for this quick session and get some healing done, and then my big problem will be gone. It's not about that. However, it affects change at the deepest level so substantially that the time it will actually take to experience those shifts isn't really that long. So when we start an intention, when a client starts an intention, we figure that out, we talk about it at the beginning, and sometimes we discover in a person's check-in what the thing is that they're here to work on. Other times, I've got clients that they've been doing this work for a while, and they'll show up and say, "I don't know what we're going to talk about today," but still stuff comes up, and then it's like, "Oh my gosh, I know why that came up. I'm so glad it did." But for someone who's new, let's say we develop an intention, and we muscle test all of this. This is the best wording for this intention. Yeah, and again, this is your higher self that's giving us all of this information. And so, all right, the name of this intention is stressed out at work. And so, yes, okay. And then we test how many tiers are there to this? How many layers? In other words, how many sessions are there to this? So if you want to think about it like, when you go to if you've never been to a gym before and you see that bench press and you're like, I want to bench press 400 pounds. Well, we probably can't do that right away. It's going to take some work up to it. And so the same is with healing. And I'm pretty sure in other approaches to spiritual healing, there's a common theme of layers. We remove the layers slowly. And well, it might seem slow, it's actually quite fast. And so we determine how many sessions there are to that intention. And sometimes there might only be one, so one session. Other times there's upward of 10. And while for some people it's very daunting, like, oh my gosh, 10 sessions of this? At the same time, the amount of development and shifts that happen between sessions is something to behold, and kind of makes sense when you do it. This work is so experiential, as is, I think, most spiritual healing work. So Healing QA is not licensed medicine, it's not licensed therapy, but it can be a wonderful complement to your team of practitioners, if you want to think about it like that. So, you've got your general practice doctor, you've got a therapist or perhaps a coach or a counselor, and you might have other energy healers that are part of your team. Think of them as your team. Healing QA functions very much as part of that team. And again, we all have our own, what works for us, and that's what's great. And everyone's got their own different mix, their own recipe of what works for them. For most Healing QA clients, they do it pretty consistently. So it's whether it's some do it weekly, some do it twice a month, once a month, others every few months, and they kind of go in little spurts. But what I've experienced is that this work really compounds on itself when you're consistent with it. Very much like anything that you find works really well for you. So meditation, the more that we do that thing that, ooh, that's really good, I like that, do more of that, then this functions very much in the same way. Healing QA can help individuals in regards to their relationships by working with them. So that when let's say someone comes to Healing QA and they've got my marriage there's tension there, it's been really dissonant, I feel like I've tried everything. So clients have, when only one person is doing this work, have reconnected with their partners after years of dissonance, and only one of them was doing the work. At the same time, it can produce the opposite, where if someone comes to this work and is like, I've been struggling for a long time with this relationship, I'm always tense, or I always feel like I'm below them, or whatever the dynamic is that they don't like, we start to work on that. And one variable of Healing QA is called the drama triangle. And back in the 60s, Stephen Cartman, he created this thing called the drama triangle. And on it so think of an upside down triangle. So down here is the victim, up here is the persecutor, and up here is the rescuer. And in childhood, we tend to fall into one of those three. And that's sort of our main theme, our main role that we follow. However, in every relationship we have, we are often going around and around like a merry-go-round between each other and playing different roles. Well, with Healing QA, by doing this work, we're able to strip away all the layers that just aren't serving anymore, that allow clients to realize where they are on that triangle. Oh my gosh, like I've been a victim this whole time. I see the dynamic now that I've never seen my entire life. Oh my gosh, this is what my family's been talking about for years, or my friend has been saying about me and this person. I get it now. And so in that way, Healing QA allows someone to remove the glasses, so to speak. First of all, realize they've had glasses on. There's kind of a fascinating thing that happens when we realize, oh my gosh, I've been looking at life this whole way, this whole time. And then you can choose to take them off, because there's choice, there's free will in all of this. But when we move forward with what comes up, we take off those glasses and we're able to see relationship dynamics for what they are. We're able to see ourselves. In Healing Key Way, we have interventions that we perform that the client performs that help instill healthier boundaries, and which makes for a far more fertile ground to make confident choice. You have freedom of choice, and you don't feel necessarily obligated in ways that maybe you used to. So, as subjective as success is, for someone who's been doing Healing Key Way for a while, I would say that it's a remarkable thing to hear them. Let's say we're in a session, and we like, hey, how's it going? Like we just jumped on Zoom, and we're checking in, like, how's your day going? Oh, it's great, blah blah. And then you hear them say something so casually that you would never have heard them say. That it's like you just said that you applied for that job that you never even thought you were worthy enough to even apply for. You just did it, and they say, oh yeah. They don't even think about it. It's the stories of, I went to go grab coffee with a friend I hadn't seen in 6 months, and she just couldn't stop saying, something's different about you. What is it? It's those kinds of shifts that we can't necessarily put words to, but as the client, you know how you've changed. And perhaps also too, it's the ones in your circle that start being the mirror to you of like, oh, I'm in a different place. And so as far as real world experiences that, applying for a job that previously you didn't even think you were capable of getting, why even bother? It plays out in so many different ways. Let's see, for instance, hey, I finally went for this career path that I didn't think I had any interest in. I finally let go of that career path because I thought that was the way it had to be. And oh my gosh, I've never been this relaxed in my life. And also, I don't know how it's going to work out, but I'm not worried anymore because I know I'm going to figure it out. So phrases like those that just come up, and it's fascinating and just a gift to witness and experience. And also too with relationships, the success stories of clients saying, I said goodbye to that person, or my partner and I, we went out dancing. We haven't done that in however long. And these very specific moments that have such impact for the client, to hear them share those kinds of things, those are, I would say, milestones. Yeah, so if you're interested and you've got questions, but you're still a little hesitant, I am always willing and excited to talk with people on the phone and give them more information, answer all the questions, ask all the questions, because this work, you aren't this isn't a secret. This isn't this is such a welcoming way of approaching your life, your inner path, that all questions are welcome. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Jeff Rossick, and I'm a Healing Key Way practitioner, and you can reach me at pathwaywithin.com, so all one word, pathwaywithin.com. And yeah, reach out, fill out the contact form, and if you've got more questions, and I'm happy to talk more.